Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Ben on Sports. This episode is an extending part of the NASCAR Weekly Prediction Weekly Preview episodes. This week is week 4. NASCAR is going to Phoenix. So without further ado, let's get into it. Some storylines. Tyler Reddick stays hot. I think I'm just going to leave that as my number one headline. Tyler Reddick becomes the first driver to win the first 3 races of a season in NASCAR history. Somebody finally dethroned Shane Van Gisbergen on the road courses. He had won 5 straight road course races coming into this one, and Tyler Reddick prevents him from going 6 straight. And Shane Van Gisbergen still has not won at COTA. Maybe COTA is his weakness. 23XI is still 1-2 in points. Bubba Wallace still second in points. Tyler Reddick's obviously first, winning the first 3 races. Huge lead for a guy who figures to be one of the championship contenders most seasons, and he already has a massive points lead. And Bubba Wallace still hanging in there at 2, found a way to get a decent finish on a road course. 23XI, hard to ask for a much better start to the season than what they've had. And how are we feeling after that race? I just was like, to it. We've had better road course races. We've also had worse. I definitely think the tire fall off. Maybe it's the horsepower. Maybe it's the tire compound. It was a little bit better, made for some more interesting racing and strategy. But yeah, that race kind of was just bleh to me. It wasn't awful. It wasn't great. It was just average. And we'll see how the road courses look the rest of the season. But we don't have to worry about one for a while. Moving on to some of the more popular ovals. Big storyline this week. Alex Bowman is out due to vertigo. Alfredo Fast Pasta will be filling in for him. Alex Bowman already missing the 4th race of the season, and you hope that it's nothing too serious and complications from some of his injuries during wrecks and everything, because that could be a sign of a much larger problem. Bowman out of Phoenix with vertigo. Denny Hamlin returns to the scene of the crime, where he was robbed of a championship last season. His father's last chance to see one. His father notably passing away recently in the offseason in a tragic incident. Scene of the crime for Denny Hamlin, one of the most controversial championship finishes I can remember in my lifetime. And not that it was controversial as like something happened, but just the way everything happened. Kyle Larson was one of the best drivers all season. Just the way everything happened, and I don't know. It still feels weird to me, and so Denny has to return to the scene of the crime. NASCAR going back to Phoenix. I don't normally do anything outside of the Cup Series. I usually focus on the Cup Series, but I think this is some big news. Cletus McFarland signing with RCR to do select races in the O'Reilly Series. Big for NASCAR because Cletus McFarland always draws numbers and draws a crowd. But I do think it is fair to ask, is Cletus McFarland experienced and deserving enough? Undoubtedly a good thing for NASCAR to be attached to Cletus McFarland and have him racing. I know that's not his real name, guys, but the whole YouTube persona, the social media persona, people love him. But again, the O'Reilly Series is the second highest NASCAR series for a reason, and somebody who has very limited ARCA time, very limited truck time. I'm going to be very interested and hope for Cletus McFarland that it works out. And now I'm not going to spend too much time on this. If you've listened to this channel before, you know how dumb and awful of a decision I think it was to take away a point race from Dover and do the All-Star race there. And now NASCAR's making it worse. They announced their All-Star format this week, and every driver is going to be in it. That just seems so gosh darn stupid to me. It's not meant to be a participation trophy race. There's so much wrong with this All-Star race. I wish they could also make it at night. There's so much wrong with this All-Star race. Horrible planning by NASCAR. They did so many good things in the offseason. And this might end up being the stain as how bad this All-Star race is going to be. I might not even watch it. And I think we should boycott it because of NASCAR is seemingly making the wrong decision at every turn in regards to the All-Star race. And that's all I'll say about that. Let's get into some history at Phoenix, the next-gen history. Recent winners. Again, Phoenix, for the first time this season, will not be the championship race. So all those November races have been the last race of the season, and then Phoenix is always in March, or at least in recent history. Chase Briscoe won the first next gen Phoenix win, or Phoenix race. It was his first career Cup Series win. Joe Logano won in the fall of 2022 to lock up his second championship. William Byron wins March of 23. Ross Chastain wins fall of 23. Christopher Bell wins spring 24. Joey Logano wins fall 24 to win the most undeserved championship in NASCAR history in 2024. Christopher Bell won Phoenix last season, the end of a 3 race stretch where he won 3 in a row. And then Ryan Blaney, after all the chaos and all the craziness that happened at the end of last season's championship race, Ryan Blaney came away with the win. Best average finish in the next gen car, Ryan Blaney at 5.8. He has been so good. Penske has largely been good at Phoenix as well. Kyle Larson, 9.3, last year's champion after securing a top 5 in the fall race last year. Chris Buescher and Ross Chastain tied at 9.9. Chris Buescher adds to Ford's strength here. Ross Chastain, a winner and has run up front a lot. And then Denny Hamlin in the next gen car at 10.3. Obviously had the most dominant car in the field last time we were here in November. If he can have that same level of car, it could be a very, very big pro Denny race. Most top 5s, Ryan Blaney, 7 of the 8 races has finished in the top 5. Talk about domination. Kyle Larson, 5 top 5s in 8 races. And then 5 drivers are tied at 3. Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, Ross Chastain, Chris Buescher, and William Byron. And then in the most top 10s, Ryan Blaney, again, 7 out of the 8 races in the top 10. Kyle Larson, 6 of the 8 races in the top 10, and then 4 drivers are tied at 5. Kyle Busch, who has 1 top 5 but 5 top 10s in the next gen car. William Byron has 5. Chris Buescher and Christopher Bell also have 5 top 5s as well. But one thing I do want to mention, Phoenix is running that new tire compound that NASCAR started running last year on some of their short tracks. And one of the new tire compounds that they have been working on. And it led to, I would say, a different feeling race in the fall. And the fall is the first time they have run that tire compound. So I'll be interested to see if we see some of the people who have been really good in the next gen car, if we see some of the people that were really fast in that last race of the season last year. There are some people who are good at both, but I'll be interested to see if teams have figured out this new tire compound. Because if you remember, there was a lot of tire blowouts, including 3 of the 4 championship drivers' tires blew out in that championship race. Some of them multiple times, but Chase Briscoe and Kyle Larson were both able to drive through the field. I believe Chase Briscoe did it twice last season to get back to the top 5 before the end of that race where the caution craziness happened. So keep in mind, these are the next-gen stats, but there is a new tire compound that they have only run here once. Favorites to win Phoenix, it has to be Team Penske. Ryan Blaney dominates here. Joey Logano has won twice, although his 2 race wins came with the championship on the line, so maybe that was part of it. But I expect those 2 drivers to be fast for Team Penske. Hendrick, I was back and forth between Hendrick and Gibbs, but Hendrick, Kyle Larson has been good here. I expect William Byron to be good here. Chase Elliott should be okay. I don't think he's quite in that echelon so far in the next gen at this track. One thing that is hurting Hendrick and their odds to win this race as a team is Alex Bowman being out. I have Joe Gibbs Racing 3rd. It's really a Hendrick-Joe Gibbs Racing tie, and part of me wants to move Joe Gibbs Racing up. But Joe Gibbs Racing has multiple previous winners, although only one of them won it with Joe Gibbs Racing. But Joe Gibbs Racing has proved to have speed. They have speed at every track, right? Trackhouse, outside of the top 3 teams, Trackhouse is the only other car organization, the only other team that has won at Phoenix. And I expect Ross Chastain, one of the most consistent top 10 drivers at Phoenix, to find speed again this week. And we'll see what Connor Zilisch and Shane Van Gisbergen will add. This is Shane Van Gisbergen's first chance at a non-drafting oval. He's in a good spot on points. We'll see what he does this week. And then RFK Racing, Chris Buescher's been fast here. Brad Keselowski has been good at these type of tracks, and with this tire compound, I think Ryan Preece also might have a chance to have a good day this week as well. So give me RFK Racing and 5. Individual driver rankings. Ryan Blaney, my number one favorite to win. I think that one's self-explanatory. If Ryan Blaney doesn't run in the top 5 all day, something will have changed or he wrecked. Kyle Larson at number 2. Christopher Bell has won the last 2 Phoenix Spring races. Hard to drop him any lower than 3. Denny Hamlin I have at 4. He is usually good at shorter tracks, and it seems like Joe Gibbs Racing and Denny Hamlin in particular found something at this track last fall. William Byron, previous winner here, I have at 5. Ross Chastain, previous winner, I have at 6, usually runs well. Joe Logano has won here twice, but he's also been inconsistent. He's been done a little bit up and down, and especially in the spring race, hasn't been as good as the fall race, but I'm still not dropping him below 7. He has won twice here in the next gen. Chase Briscoe, I have 8, and you might be asking, his average finish isn't good. Well, he still has 4 top 10 finishes. I believe he has 2 top 5s. He has a win here. And last fall, under the new tire compound, Briscoe was one of the fastest cars on the track, especially in that short run speed. They just couldn't seem like they could figure out the long run in their tire. It kept going flat with 40, 45 laps into a run. So they had to pit frequently. Again, they had a lot of speed. Chase Briscoe, I believe, one of only 2 or 3 drivers to lead laps, multiple laps at all 3 races this season. Briscoe was fast last fall. I think he'll continue to be fast, and they're going to need a good day after what happened last week. Chris Buescher, just like he is at so many tracks in his career, has been very steady at Phoenix, finds a way to get good finishes and get good point stays. I think the same thing happens. And then Kyle Busch, over half of the Phoenix races in the next gen car, has gotten to a top 10. Kyle Busch, I think, has had some more speed to start this season. I would want to see Kyle Busch have a fast car and be near the front this week. And now the power rankings. I'm not going to even say why Tyler Reddick is 1. That's self-explanatory, but Reddick is 1. Chase Elliott, after a very rough day, weird strategy day, makes a really smart decision to come down pit road before the caution comes out, and it nets Chase Elliott a good finish. Chase Elliott, one of the closer normal championship contenders. Like when you think about drivers who can win a championship coming into the year, Chase Elliott's, I think, him and Blaney are the 2 closest to Tyler Reddick. Ryan Blaney going into a track he really likes. Blaney had a fast car, arguably could be number 2 on this list. Blaney is top 4 in points, just like Elliott, trying to chase back Tyler Reddick, and will have a good chance to do that this weekend. Bubba Wallace, 2nd in points, had a decent day on the road course. Phoenix has been up and down for him. I'll be interested to see how he does this week. But Bubba Wallace off to a hot start. I have him all the way at 4, and those top 4 in my power rankings are the top 4 drivers in points as of now. Denny Hamlin found a way to a top 5 or a top 10 at COTA last week. Still not quite where he wants to be in points because of wrecks on the drafting tracks, but he should be fast at Phoenix. And the next couple racetracks are tracks Denny Hamlin has been very successful at. And I expect him to start working his way towards the front, especially if he can find a way to get a top 10 on a road course. Kyle Larson with another okay day, hanging around in points in the teens. Had an okay day, made up for some of the wrecks he's had in the first 2 races, going to a track where he should be one of the 3 favorites. Kyle Larson in 6th, William Byron in 7th. Another person that just had a solid week trying to recuperate points after getting behind in points, let's just say, with some finishes that he wasn't happy with. Chase Briscoe, 8th. He would still be in my top 5, but they finished last in a race. They led 8 laps, and in 3rd place in the 3rd stage have a mechanical failure that sends him to the garage finishing last. And because of strategy, they didn't get any stage points. Kind of interesting to me which drivers meant to bring this point up at COTA. At road courses, I think we need to do away with the stage cautions if points are going to be important. Teams shouldn't have to decide between I want to win this race or I want stage points when it is a points-based system now, not a wins-based system now. And Chase Briscoe's team chose to flip the stage and not get stage points, and that 19 car is now buried in points after another finish outside of the top 35. Has led laps in all three races. It seems like they have a lot of speed, but you can't control mechanical failures. Looked like they were one of the faster cars on the track in that beginning of the third stage. Has nothing to show for it, no stage points, but that's why I didn't drop Briscoe completely out of the top 10, is because he is still showing speed early on this season. Christopher Bell showed speed for the first time, had a good points day, still pretty far buried because of wrecks in the first two races of the season. But Christopher Bell finally got the ship righted, comes back into the top 10, and the 2 straight victories in Phoenix in March, looking to make it 3. Joey Logano at 10. He's still pretty good on point. He's in a good point situation, going to a track that he likes. That's enough for me to have Joey Logano at 10. Shane Van Gisbergen didn't win, but he's off to a great start. If the playoffs were to start today, he would be in them. Good point. Obviously, a good points at the road course. He's done enough at the ovals. This is where his ranking could go up or down. Very interested to see how Shane Van Gisbergen looks on the first non-drafting oval of the season. But for now, because of the points and the finish he's coming off of, I will give him 11. Chris Buescher, I feel like in every race this season, maybe hasn't been up front a whole lot, but he finds a way to get good finishes, get enough points, and he gets rewarded for just solid days. He's okay on points. He's shown some speed at times this year, going into a track where he has also shown pretty consistent top 10 speed. Chris Buescher at 12. Ross Chastain, another guy like Briscoe that has shown speed at all 3 tracks this year. He's kind of buried in points, hasn't gotten the finish he deserves, and had a rough day after a great qualifying session and running up front for quite a while. Ryan Preece and Chris Buescher are kind of similar to me so far this season. They are both just putting together solid finishes, staying relevant in the points in the playoff discussion. And Ford has been good at Phoenix. I'm interested to see if they continue that this week. Daniel Suarez, top 7 in points right now. After some great finishes, had a great week at COTA last weekend. Daniel Suarez jumping into the top 15, 7th in points. What a great start for his time at Spire. AJ Allmendinger, another driver that's jumping up a little bit in the power rankings, in the top 10 in points, has had a couple of decent performances on the drafting track, and everybody knows he's a good road course racer. Found a way to get a good finish, grab some points, and jump into the top 10. Carson Hocevar had a late spin, didn't get the finish he wanted. He's still okay on points. I still think Hocevar, when it is going to be one of the better non power team oval drivers. Does that make sense? So like he's not Penske or Hendrick or Gibbs or 23XI. And out of that second tier, the third tier of teams, I think Carson Hocevar is going to be one of the more consistent drivers on non-road course, non-ovals, or non-drafting tracks, kind of the meat of the schedule, and I think that's going to keep him around. Did drop this week because of the late spin and not a great finish. Brad Keselowski had struggled, made it through a tough situation, got a solid enough finish, is in a great spot on points. All 3 RFK drivers, didn't happen a lot last year, but right now all 3 RFK drivers in the power rankings. Brad Keselowski in an okay spot in points as well. And just like RFK, all 3 Spire cars are in the top 20 of my power rankings because Michael McDowell is 19. He's in a pretty good spot in points now. The first 3 races were drafting tracks and a road course, which are his 2 best track types, and 2 of the track types Spire seems to have figured out well. But McDowell with another solid points day. He's currently in the playoffs if they were to start today. Or maybe he's just right outside. But McDowell off to a good enough start to the season. Let's see if he can keep it up. And then Ty Gibbs making his first appearance, had a good road course day, trying to continue to make up points ground. Ty Gibbs has the ability to make the playoffs, even if he doesn't get a win, because he's going to be in fast enough equipment. Ty Gibbs has had some good runs at Phoenix. I'm putting him at 20 to end my power rankings. That's all I have for you guys today. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on X. I'm talking a lot about March Madness. The World Baseball Classic is here. Conference tournaments have started. The NHL trade deadline's about to go down. It's time for playoff pushes for the NBA and the NHL. March is one of the best sports months of the year, and nobody can convince me otherwise. NFL free agency should be starting soon as well. Lots of player releases happening, a couple of trades. Plenty of sports this weekend, so you know what that means. Find a couch, watch some sports. Take care of yourself.